So a very good afternoon to all the distinguished participants, esteemed members, and our respected chairman and vice chairman of the board, and our experts. I am Dr. Ankur Khairwal from Digital Accounting and Assurance Board of ICI, your host for today's webinar. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to today's live webinar on transforming profession, new horizons, and new opportunities in the digital era, an important initiative of DAP ICI. In today's rapidly evolving ecosystem, the role of chartered accountant is no longer confined to traditional domains. We are witnessing a fundamental shift where technology and data are redefining assurance, governance, and professional opportunities. This webinar has been thoughtfully curated to equip our members with insights into these emerging avenues. We are privileged to have with us our visionary leaders, CA Dayanivas Sharma, Chairman DAB, and CA Arpit Kabra, Vice Chairman DAB, who has been instrumental in driving ICAI's initiatives in the area such as forensic accounting, cybersecurity, data analytics, information systems audit, data protection, and digital assurance. Sir will be addressing us shortly on the key initiatives of DAB and how they are shaping the future of profession. We are also honored to have to join by distinguished panel of experts who will be sharing their domain specific insights. Please welcome CA R. Vittal Raj sir, CA Uday Kulkarni sir, Dr. Saurabh Maheshwari, CA Dr. Durgesh Pandey, and Dr. Vinay Saini ji. Each of these sessions has been precisely designed to give you actionable perspective and future ready directions. With this, I think we have our chairman, vice chairman sir also here. So with this, I now invite our vice chairman sir for his opening remarks. Over to you, sir.
Stop sharing actually.
All right. Audible now, Ankur bhai? Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. And what an exciting phase that we are now right now in. We're launching our DXFS 2026. The first version saw a huge amount of support and a huge amount of interest in what is digital assurance as a function now that means. And today, as I'm joined with a list of luminaries, our faculties, Vittal Raj sir is here, Uday ji is here, Durgesh ji, Saurabh bhai. Uh, Friends, it's these are again very interesting times when stakeholders are coming and telling us that we need information system audits done by chartered accountants. We need behavioral audit assurance function done by chartered accountants. We need uh, in terms of as you can see, pickleball was supposed to be one of the best sports of this world. Today you have Hyrox, which has now overtaken pickleball also. Hyrox is nothing but 8 kilometers of sprinting with 8 different exercises. Digital assurance is the Hyrox of this world. Digital assurance, where you will have to do anything and everything to do with your traditional audit and assurance now in digital space. So each one of you is now supposed to tell us that the integration of data, the integration of portals has been done correctly or not. Now you'll have to tell us as an auditor and an assurance function, you have to give us a valuation. Now, valuation was in a different space, but now if someone comes and says that, look, this is my dashboard, this is the activity that I do as a startup, this is what I've created, these many clicks I have. As an influencer, these many hits that I have on my Instagram or YouTube, I need a valuation for this. Who gives you an assurance on that valuation? A chartered accountant will have to do it now. So I think these are very interesting times. Everything that is so much intangible will have to brought into a perspective and served to a community. With Dayanivas Sharma ji, I think who's largely leading us into this entire domain of DXFS. We just had recently had some sprint of meetings with the good regulators, including AMFI, SEBI, RBI, and many others, wherein one of the biggest question that everyone is asking is whom to rely on. So an auditor has said this. Suddenly we find another regulator, maybe a police or enforcement, saying something else. Different perspectives, different angle, different games. What to do? How to take a decision? Which way to move on? And the worst part is when regulators themselves come together when there's an IRDA coming in, when there's a SEBI coming in, when there's an MCA coming in, all of them are just saying one thing. I send information to them, they send information. It's like the passing of the ball. And in the court of law, nothing happens. They go scot-free. Imagine a time when 14,535 crores is bigger than 17,000 crores. It's a simple maths. But yes, for a asset of JP Group under IBC, Anil Agarwal, Vedanta Group bid 17,000 crores, but in a staggered manner. The present value, although of that entire 70,000 crore would be higher, but Adani comes in with 14,535 crores. Although decision taken in 17,000 crore, it was reversed and now given to 14,535 crores. That's amazing. That's maths redefined, and that's digital assurance redefined. We need to understand, therefore, the present value of money with the growing geopolitical crisis, with dollar fluctuating so much, with currency really going off the roof, markets behaving unexceptionally. Where is the certainty? We as chartered accountants will have to give some sense in this madness. And therefore, this entire function of digital assurance, I think kudos to Danyavas bhai, who was, thought about this DXFS. And of course, we've made a good stride. 1 year of hardcore back-end job. We've done a lot of work. Everything has been put into perspective. Now we'll be launching it for our chartered accountants. One input to all of you, World Gold Council came out with a huge opportunity. Almost more than 700 reports have been submitted. I don't know if one of you have already done that or not, but only 25% have met their expectations. A World Gold Council, which has brought business of around 60,000 crores worth of work for chartered accountants, exclusively for chartered accountants. This could have been done by any other stream as well, but they brought it. When in a time when jewelry sector is supposed to be audited, and IBA says that you need a specialized jeweler and a valuer on your board to do that kind of an ASM or to do that kind of assignment. In that entire timeline, you get a World Gold Council which is saying no, only chartered accountants will do our audit, give us reports, will certify. These are diamonds. They are not lab-grown diamonds. These are gold, and this is certified gold, and all of these different kind of certification that they wanted. It's a huge opportunity. I don't know how many of you have encashed it or not, but yes, only 25% have met their expectations so far. So I think it's time that we need to also upskill ourselves. Things are coming for us, but if we do not rise up to that expectation, deliver in that level, and mind you, no Big Four is doing this work in this entire domain. It's purely Indian CA firm who are working for World Gold Council because the conditions are set in that manner. And very soon, because of the actions that ICI has taken, because very soon the kind of work that ICI has done with PMO and with PMO supporting the tender guidelines of consulting engagements are no more turnover based, no more aligned towards large firms, but our own Indian firms who needs to now come together, provide them with an assurance through our digital capability maturity model, DCMM. If not for all of that, I think it's very difficult for us to rise up to that level. So at Digital Accounting Assurance Board, as a vice chairman, it's an absolute pleasure and privilege to welcome all of you into this webinar where we talk about this wonderful concept of digital assurance and how it's going to impact every aspect of our work, and how do we segregate the non-serious auditors and non-serious assurance providers from serious providers, and so that the investments are made right. We give you tools and technologies. We empower you to deliver just at that right level, so that we meet the expectations of stakeholders. And with these wonderful faculties on board, Ankur Khairwal, who's been the secretary, has worked very hard, won last year, and now continues with this entire space. Amit Gupta joins in as a secretary of this wonderful board. Again, both of them are doctors, both of them are qualified PhD in forensics. When these people are at the helm of affairs, you can understand DAB is here to perform and deliver. With these words, welcome all of you. I look forward to an enriching session. 22nd, 23rd May at Hyderabad. DXFS 2026 is calling all of you. Hope to see you all there. Interesting insights in this webinar. Stay tuned and keep asking some good questions. You will get answers by these faculties, and I'm sure then the perspective would set in. To all the people who are really looking for what's going to happen in DXFS, I've given you a hint. Now, when Dayabai mentions and talks about it, you'll understand more. Thank you very much. Look forward to interact with all of you. Over to you, Ankur.
Thank you, sir, for that insightful and forward-looking address. Now, I would like to invite Chairman Sir to address the participants and share his valuable insights on DAB initiatives. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ankur. And one quick thing for you, just send a mail to Madhukar sir for the link to join. Because I don't have option now, I am the screen directly. So let me just use this opportunity and just share it on the WhatsApp. Sorry, mail. And Arpit bhai, thank you very much for joining us today and giving this insights at the beginning and welcoming all the people. One fact which friends I would like to share, gave a fantastic analogy with regards to the pickleball and the high rocks, which is actually happening across the board. Every day is changing. Every day. I think we thought AI chat GPT is going to be somewhere, is going to rock the show and is going to stay for quite a long time. But you'll be surprised to know that thousands of such tools have already come in. There are a lot of things at the back end which are happening, whether Gemini, Claude, or any other tools which is coming up. But the analogy given by my vice chairman gives me a lot of satisfaction to mention one fact about the current scenario. But before that, I welcome the learned and the most talented people who have actually made DAB what it is. I thank Vittal Raj, then I thank Uday, then I thank even Saurabh, Durgesh, and Vinay, who has been there. I think they are on the just off more at this point in time, who are actually working very hard to ensure that the knowledge is getting transformed on a regular intervals to all our members. I think all of us have to really thank this profession who teaches us from the basics that, from the time we take an article to train, we don't realize one fact that we are creating a competition for ourselves. Rather, and we pay them and create our own competition. Similar is the case with these gentlemen who are doing their practices, knowing that fact, if I train, if I teach, these are all going to come back to me as a sorry, these are all going to come back to me as a competition, but still they contribute is something which we all have to applaud for their contribution. Thank you very much to you all people for giving your knowledge and sharing your wisdom all throughout every time. Friends, one important factor when the vice chairman and I were discussing about certain things, because last year, as he rightly mentioned, the last year was for us to work on what tomorrow is all about. So we took whole year to analyze and realize what should establish the strength of all the chartered accountants in a true sense. And that is where a lot of back-end operations have happened. And I'll share with you one after another certain things which your institute is ahead of many other institutes in the world. Friends, last year and now even the current one and tomorrow, day after and the day next, 3 days, our topmost faculties are going to sit together and fix up the nuts and bolts of the things which we are planning to launch immediately after these meetings. You will be surprised to know the kind of things which are going to come up from DAB, which is going to keep up the entire profession in the forefront and make all the regulators and enforcement agencies believe that always ICAI has stood for what is required and what is expected out of the nation. Friends, there are a lot of news which goes in the market, including the recent one which has gone in the video, which do not have any sanctity. Today, we are the only body which has done so much, and all the regulators are having an eye on us to give a continuous contribution. Let me share with you one simple fact that our institute is the only institute in the world which has come out with our own, only institute in the world which has come out with their own forensic standards. Can you just imagine? And today, a couple of countries from the globe are asking us that they want to adopt the forensic standards from us, the way we have adopted the IFRS or maybe the other, so-called standards across the board. When you think about ethical standards, I think the mythology of India itself talks about what ethics is, and the start of the nation starts from Ramayana, which always talked about ethics. And what is ISBA going to teach us when we talk about the ethical system in this country? Is a similar thing when we talk about, just imagine that adoption of technology, the way it is gone across the world. We were in 150th position, and today we are the world's #1 in use of technology in any form which you talk about. Any international tool which has been launched in the market, I think India is the first one to adopt. Now time of India is to create, and our Prime Minister is ensuring on a continuous basis that we create something new and different in time to come. And that is where your institute has come with the world's first forensic standards, and also the last year efforts which we have put to convert this India-centric forensic standards to global-centric forensic standards. Along with that, we are thankful to Honorable immediate past President, who is actually given consent to formulate and issue the world's first information system audit standards. We are the world #1 in two important aspects. Just imagine. Now, when you talk about technology, what do you want to talk about technology when the definitions are very simple? Let me just give you a statement which is there across the board. Technology refers to digital tools, systems, or strategies that are implemented throughout an entire organization, system, or industry to affect all areas, departments, or stakeholders uniformly. What does this mean? This statement means very simple, straight. The outcome of anything you talk about is money and money's worth. That need to be put into certain numbers, and those numbers are ultimately to be certified by no other person than chartered accountant. This is where we have been talking from last 25 years, 26 years. 2020 was the time when DAB has introduced information system audits. 2020, 26 years back. And today, 26 years later, the stage is that where every regulator is talking about information system audit frameworks. Am I right, Vittal sir? You have been part of a lot of regulatory bodies. Dr. Saurabh Maheshwari is no other person who has been training and designing the courses for various universities in the country. Durgesh Pandey is there, who has actually been giving lectures across the globe on the forensic side. Uday Kulkarni is there, who is working with multiple banks and financial institutions. Our own vice chairman is there, who has been on the forefront to talk with regulators on a continuous basis to say that ICAI and chartered accountants are relevant across the board. Friends, let us agree to one fact. Professional opportunities everyone talks about. Yes, we are also here in this webinar to talk about professional opportunities. No doubt about it. It has to come. And you all have to gear up for this opportunity, which is just lying outside the doors of your office and home. And this professional opportunity is to be understood with one important thing: knowledge, number 2, competency, and 3 is the skill set which you need to develop for yourself to market yourself. Knowledge is not going to be just enough to collect certain amount of certification courses and think that you are actually going to achieve everything in the world. No. There is a mistake which is continuously happening among the members. By completing certification courses, you are thinking that you are going to get work opportunities. The answer is big no. We have close to 36,000 chartered accountants who have qualified DISA. We have close to 17,000 chartered accountants who are qualified forensic experts. Now tell me, are everyone getting opportunity? Okay, if that is a sensitive question, we'll park this question at one side. The second side is, did we work towards getting an opportunity opening for all of us? I don't think we have worked. We just wrote some exam, attended certain certification course, whether virtual, whether it is physical, doesn't matter. But the fact is, we collected number of degrees, but are those degrees deployable degrees? Are those degrees employable degrees? Are those degrees which is going to generate revenue for you and experience for the people who are working with you? Think about for a moment. This is where people are making continuous mistake, and that is where we need to understand this is an opportunity which I am continuously talking about. Just go back and see your company law. In the company law, categorically it is written IFC. IFC framework is particularly controlled processes. When you talk about RBI circulars, you need to understand RBI circular is talking about no human intervention and seamless process which is happening without any fraud getting engaged. C&AG is talking about technology adoption at a various level. You tell me which body you want to know, whether it is MITI, whether you talk about GST, which is our day in, day out activity. Every transaction is hitting from there. Your UPI transactions are hitting from there. Then furthermore, income tax. Almost all the enforcement agencies are using tools and technologies. Why? Please understand, all your accounting packages are either SAP or Oracle or Zoho or maybe a Tally ERP or whatever. Multiple transactions are hitting. Everywhere you talk about, they talk about a portal or maybe an app that need to be used. What is this all? One side it is a financial transaction which are been hitting, and the other side is the technology which is getting used. Time has come where the profession has to align and merge these two things and create a new professional opportunity in time to come, which is already we are late if you ask me. Now you might ask, what is there in ICAI? Let me just share a couple of very interesting things before I take you through the presentation or my other faculty speak. These people have created some wonderful things over a period of time with institute and also with the regulators, and they have delivered n number of projects. And it is not a theoretical discussion today we are going to have. It is more of a practical oriented, implementable, achievable and transformable professional opportunities we are going to talk about. We have to come out of our mindset that income tax, GST is only the game. The answer is big no. The statutory audits in time to come are going to be all process oriented. Let us take an example which is already incorporated in your company law about the audit trail. Why audit trail? That the transactions should not be editable. If it is editable, there should be an audit trail. That means it is moving towards technology in a strongest possible manner. Friends, we have certain fantastic flagship courses. But have we used these flagship courses for a right thing? Is a question, because my all faculties we had a fantastic deliberation before we came here today on the webinar. We don't want to do a webinar for the sake of webinar. No, we will be selective. We will do the webinars which are going to be more relevant for an opportunity, for more relevant for waking up, for more relevant for creating new skill set, and take it from me every fortnight from here onwards. DAB is going to take a webinar on newer opportunities on a continuous basis. Note down, be ready, we are coming, and don't miss out on attending Digital Transformation Finance Summit on 22nd and 23rd of May. Take it from me, it is not about a small tool. It is about the entire transformation which is coming up in technology era, and how And one beautiful program session is going to be there. We are getting all regulators. We are putting our best efforts to get CNAG, RBI, SEBI, multiple other regulators to come together and tell us what are they looking at. How are they perceiving this technology transformation in a sense that they have already adopted, my dear friends? Please take it from me. When you talk about RBI, it has gone way ahead. When you talk about payment banks, UPIs, everything. Today, none of us go to a branch for taking a housing loan or a gold loan or education loan. It's all online. You talk about mutual fund, which is a 16 lakh crore business. You know, insurance is 60 lakh crores business. Everything today is on technology platforms. But are we ready? Are we still waiting for something more to give us alarms and give jerks and shakeups to get ready for the newer profession in time to come? Now, please understand, I'll take you through one important area. One, DISA as a course. Two, forensic as a course. Three, DPDP certification as a course. Four, cybersecurity certification as a course. Five, executive development programs which are happening at Digital Accounting and Assurance Board. Please reach out to your branches and tell them to work on this executive development program, which is on data analytics. Number two, on data dashboard. How do you create a data dashboard? Today, management MSME definition is changed to 250 crores. They don't have CFOs, but if we are able to create some good quality dashboards for them, they'll always appreciate us. Then advanced Excel, ERP and SAP certification courses we are in process of launching. We are in discussions and deliberations. NIME as a tool, analytic tool. Most importantly, CAT tools which are very relevant for this profession. So these are certain things which are been happening in a larger manner. How many of you are aware about the digital competency maturity model 2.0? I don't think many of you have actually heard about it or ever implemented. But do you know, friends, yours is the only institute which could dare to develop a digital competency maturity model, and that is where you need to do an self-assessment. It is not a verifiable thing. It is a self-assessment tool of where your firm, your organization is lying with regards to adoption of technology in your organizations. If you have not gone through, I'll request Ankur, kindly just keep the soft copies ready. Might be end of the session. We'll try to show them what digital competency maturity model is all about. Right? Then DISA, as I talked about, first institute in the world to come out with information system audit standards. I'll take you to the presentation. Let me just take you there rather than talking about on a. I hope this is visible.
Yes, sir.
I hope this is visible, friends.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Sorry, कौन था पीछे?
It's visible,
Right.
sir.
Visible, na?
Visible,
Right.
visible.
So this is about expanding the chartered accountant digital front end. And friends, one thing I'll tell you, this we are talking about is what ICI is already achieved. We are not waiting. We are waiting for you to come and work. We are ready. We are there. Our faculties are there. Our syllabus is there. Our sandbox approach is there. Our experiential learning is there. And for your surprise, let me just tell you, or I'll talk about it at a later point in time. This is where we are going to move towards. Digital assurance evolution, how things have actually moved. In the moment I show you that presentation, that slide, you will be surprised to know the kind of connect which ICI is sitting in the center table. Please understand, and thanks to Vittal Raj sir for giving that idea of getting all things together in right manner. Cyber security today is the most critical one, and your information system audit standard is covering it in its standard number 440. Just imagine DPDP, right? It is already covered in your IS audit standards 430, and it talks about various things. I'm going to take you through a beautiful slide today in shortest possible time, where it is the law which is applicable and what opportunities chartered accountant have in this particular law. I hope after that we all wake up and move towards a newer future. Then finally on the forensic accounting and fraud detection. Now just see this digital assurance evolution. I hope you all will appreciate and thank Vittalraj sir for giving this idea of where ICI sits in the center table. Just see this. Information System Audit and Control Reviews. When you talk about Reserve Bank of India, there is a cyber governance notification circular which is there, which I'll request Vittal sir to talk on every aspect. I'm just going to give you a 360-degree view, and all my faculties are going to talk about every regulator. What is it expecting from chartered accountants? If you don't understand even now and still want to sit with the old school of thought, I think that is, I leave it to your choice. Just see where it is. Digital transformation is no longer support infrastructure. It is now the nervous system of modern businesses, and DISA prepares CAs to audit, advise, and lead in the new environment. This is what your DISA is being talked about from last 26 years. We have just taken that certificate for the purpose of only and only one thing, which was bank audit, or might be for some other purpose. Sir, please understand, DISA, our president, Honorable President Prasanna Kumar sir, has given his individual, because council has to take a decision where we are talking about mandating CPERs for this DISA qualified people as well as forensic qualified people. And just for your information, friends, for the new DISA, which we are talking about, which is there in the next slide, right? This is DISA 3.0 to DISA 4.0. How we are moving is there before you. Uday bhai, thank you very much for giving this idea to make it very effective in this format, where we are talking about 15 hours of foundation e-learning, 12 hours of live immersion learning. It's a beautiful concept which has been put in. The video recording is almost completed, and in the shortest possible time, we are going to come out with our new learning experience. 53 hours of hands-on practical capstone audit simulations are going to be given. Just for your surprise, let me share with you, friends, your council has taken a unanimous decision to form the world-class data analytics and forensic lab in Center of Excellence, Hyderabad, to start with, where we have already gone through our RFP to buy high-powered computers. 50 computers will be bought in, and the list of softwares which are required to run for your systems audit, cybersecurity audit, or forensic work, investigation work, aligning the round tripping transaction when we talk about money laundering. All these softwares are going to be implemented in this system. This is the first time where we have come forward to say these computers will be used for learning as well as pay and use model. That itself will be a biggest game changer, because let people first experience what kind of softwares they want, what kind of learning they want. This is where your institute is moving. Just imagine, you have not asked, but we have moved. This is where, how and which way the newer profession is going to look like. Furthermore, right, one important factor, these computers will be fully loaded with all kind of technological tools, which is expected to be there in a chartered accountant's office for doing various amount of work. I hope you will appreciate your institute on what we are trying to do. And you will also come forward to complete these courses. And most importantly, for those 36,000 chartered accountants who have completed DISA course, we are coming out with DISA Plus as a new bridge course for all the people who would like to enhance and upskill themselves from a traditional audit practice to digital audit practice. So we are ready with that course, and shortly that will be announced. So this is the first platform in which we are sharing this with you all people. And in DXFS, you will see a lot which is going to be visibly seen by you all people. Now I'm speaking, but you will visibly see a lot of things which is going to come up. Saurabh bhai, thank you very much for ensuring that the data analytic labs, the computer configurations, the softwares which you have vetted are going to see a light of the day. These ideas which have been coming through all across the board, we are not here to create 30,000-40,000 people. We are here to create high quality 3,000 chartered accountants who will define the cyber security, the technology, and the entire IT infrastructure by no other person than chartered accountants, joining hands with the technology experts. Time of collaboration is relevant. Please understand, I cannot replace everyone. We have to work in collaboration. But to work in collaboration, I should know what I should know. If I don't know what I should know, then I don't think it is an opportunity. Please understand, when it is money and money is worth, only and only a chartered accountant can define a quality of audit process that can actually sit on the screen. That is where the dual engine सरकार जो मोदी जी बोलते थे, वैसे ही अब dual engine profession चलेगा. It is one chartered accountant who is going to tell an idea with regards to where and what technology is going, which kind of technology is required, and what shortcomings should be addressed, mapped, so that I am a person who is ahead of all kind of risk in the process. So friends, this is, I'm talking in short about the DISA, which is going to come. You will be surprised, you will go mad when you attend these physical classes. I assure you that. Because it's all fun in learning. It is not pain in learning. It is not going to be a theoretical process where you are going to go through something which someone is talking, but I don't know. But we are going to teach and show you what this teaching is transforming into a practical experience with our own capstone projects and the tools which we are going to create in the sideline, right? Now the cyber security, just imagine the kind of size the market is sitting with. I want to share only the size. How, in which way our guys are going to work, they are going to train you, that will be shown. 2.4 million incidents have taken effect in India. I4C, which is the committee which is formed under the Home Ministry, fortunately I am part of it. This is talking about the ransom risk which chartered accountant and consulting firms are going to have on the different kind of cyber attacks which is going to come on us. Are we ready for this? It is 4.88 million USD average global data breach cost, which is going in the global front. I have given you the statistics from where this is coming also. So it is not something which I am creating hypothetically and thinking, giving some statements. We are the second most important country in the world which has been impacted with all the cybersecurity threat after US and Israel. Just imagine, where are we sitting? Are we ready? Are we looking at this opportunity, or we still want to crib about the past opportunities which have been the traditional ones to work upon? And this is something which I want you to see. ICI DAB certification course on the right side. What is it going to give you? How is it going to give you? What are the opportunities which are lying? Where it is lying? I am not talking on a theoretical note ना. हमको बात ही नहीं करना है भैया इसके ऊपर. हमको एक ही चीज पे बात करना है. Numbers, can that be demonstrated with the right thoughtfulness, and whether it is substantiated with the right support system. If you want to go in any regulatory body and want to see what is an opportunity which is coming in, you yourself, and forget about that. India is not enough. अगर आप समझते हैं, so this is a global demand. Please understand, this is a global demand. You do this certification course, we assure you, we all faculties, council members, assure you one thing: if you lose out on opportunity, come and tell us. We will agree to our mistakes and will rectify things. Just see the size in which we are sitting in. Global, the second one, $14.5 billion. $14.5 billion. सौरभ भाई, आप देखें numbers, आप देखो क्या वॉल्यूम है. Vittal sir, I hope I am not wrong in the regulatory imperatives which we have talked about, where it is mandated for the cyber security audits.
Absolutely, sir.
And 36,000 chartered accountant teams, sir. And we have, as we discussed in the core group, my vice chairman also should be here. I think he's there. We worked upon, friends. और अर्पित भाई, याद है आपको हम लोगों का डिस्कशन क्या हुआ? हमको है ना एआई जैसा 50-60 हजार लोगों को ट्रेन नहीं करना है, हमको सिर्फ 3,000 देना है मार्केट में, जहां पे हर रेगुलेटर के पास एक आदमी बैठेगा, चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, टू वर्क अपॉन. And Arbit bhai, thanks to you, your newer thoughts, your newer vision has got us to this particular level. Your speed and my experience, we could align and get these numbers together. I hope we all will agree where we stand. I am not stopping here, friends. Just see this. It is clearly covered in your information system audit standards. What are all things which are required and the global market opportunities which are lying on the screen. 10,000 plus entities under BFSI, 7,40,000 cyber crime cases in India. Arpit bhai, just imagine. Today, friends, let me just tell you, ICI is gearing up to train the entire cyber crime department on this cyber crimes and the financial crimes which are taking place. Which body is having that capacity to talk technology and money? Just see the numbers which I am sharing with you all. What are all the, what CS can do? This is very clearly, I am sharing this with you primarily. I don't know how many of you have agreed to attend. Ankur, how many people are attending? I don't know this webinar. But if it is not by many, this will be recorded and put into the website also, where you can watch. Ankur, now what you need to look into, there is a lot that we are trying to work on. There's a lot big white paper which we are trying to create. Why you must qualify, right? These are all the reasons which are there, which I'll request my all faculties to talk about various regulators opportunities which is going to come up. New revenue stream, profession, and people think that I've grown old. Please understand, sir, 500 रुपए ही है. तो तुम अगर ओल्ड थे, जवान थे या बच्चे थे, पैसे की वैल्यू उतनी है. And most importantly, the knowledge we have gained over a period of time, I think youngsters have to work with seniors to ensure that the quality of learning which they have gone through. When we talk about AI as a tool, the effective way of using AI can be done by a senior because he has gone through all the experience versus a youngster has not gone through an experience. He doesn't even know what I should ask question. So this is where you need to come together and start working on. Now, digital personal data protection, you will be surprised to know we completed 2 batches already. And it was just like a, start, close, 3 over. Right? Now just see, what is the size? 88.6 crore, right? Active internet users are there. 144 plus countries have already adopted, not only India alone. Uday bhai, thanks to you for ensuring that the syllabus is on track, the material is ready, and beauty is we will be the first of its kind institute to issue study material for DPDP Act.
Which is useful for even for the other regulators also, sir.
Other regulators also, yes.
Yes.
Now just see this. What is the size? The penalty for DPDP non-compliance is 250 crores. And most importantly, 144 countries have adopted it. Now the point is, are you ready to face the world? Or you still want to just income tax department, GST department, think it over for a moment. The certification course is very clearly put. There are 7 modules, 12 sessions. Information system audit standards is covered in 430. capstone, Viva, service level enabled, things which are there. And most importantly now, what CAs will do and what is the market opportunity. Just see this market opportunity. 5,000 crore plus Indian DPDP advisory market is there. अब तुमको ये बोलने के बाद भी अगर समझ में नहीं आया तो so be it. I am happy that we don't have competition and we all will be the leaders in the entire profession. Am I right, Vittal sir? Vittal sir तो खाली अभी क्या है decide कर लिए कि that he is going to train all of us to make money. So thank you very much, Vittal sir, for that. Because
Surely,
you
surely,
lost
sir.
all.
It's already sir waiting. They are all waiting
Yes.
for us.
Yes, sir. 10,000 plus entities in BFSI market, which is going to have huge amount. I'm not going to talk about the subject here. I'm just going to give you an idea of what things are and how things are. I hope you understand why you must qualify is clearly given. These are all things which are very, very, very critical. I don't want to read it out for you. If you don't understand what is the first mover advantage, if you don't understand the newer revenue stream, which is opportunity, and then client expectations which are there, no one is there to guide and support them. It's a global passport because 144 countries have already adopted it. अब तुमको ये भी समझाना है उसके अंदर कौन सी कंट्री के नाम हैं, उसका पॉपुलेशन कितना है, उसके अंदर बिजनेस कितना है, वो मेरा काम नहीं है. What is ICI recognition? The moment you are qualified from ICI certification course, it has its own credentials, friends. Regulatory mandate, which is already come in, which is to come from 2027. Professional duties, which as a chartered accountant, you need to forget for any other person. You have to take care of the client data in your own office. Think about it. How are you going to manage? And competitive edge, undoubtedly, if you are ahead of others. Now, fraud and forensic, we are moving from the certification course to DFI, which is Diploma in Forensic and Investigations. We are just waiting for the approval from government. I've taken a little more time if I am not wrong, but I'll just conclude it I am within time, sir. Chaliye. So the course architecture is also been put before you all people. People are having a lot of pain to go through this e-learning. अरे घर पे सोते सोते you don't watch the reels and YouTube videos. You please watch 17.5 hours of your own future. I think that is more important for all of us. 7 days of classroom learning, which the international certifications also don't give. You are getting it. And today, GST department, income tax department, regulators, various regulators are appointing forensic experts to do engagements, investigations. Think about it. SFIU is appointing it. In time to come, many other regulators are going to come apart from the bankers, right? Then there is a final assessment. And once this certification course is converted into a diploma course, the examination will be conducted by ICI examination committee. And you know, ICI examination committee means we have got all the credentials on the top of everything. Let the news talk anything, we don't bother, but we know what is the fact, right? Now, just imagine we have thought about 17,000 people who have completed certification course on forensic. Please understand, friends, the critical aspect is those people who have completed, for them also we are coming up with a bridge course, which is a refresher course for forensic. We request you to kindly participate, learn, and take it forward. That is very important. And then, finally, one thing which I would like to tell you all is that we have huge amount of publications which are there. We have a publication on ABCD of technology. I don't know whether you have seen that or not. अंकुर, अगर आपके पास रेडी है फोटोज, जरा मेरा रिक्वेस्ट है दूसरा सेशन चालू होने के पहले DCMM का रेडी रखिए. ABCD of technology, blockchain and finance, then cyber security, IoT, Internet of Things, how they are impacting, and many such publications are available for you to go through. Short publications, beautiful publications which are relevant to chartered accountant and the profession. And most importantly, friends, my request to you all people is primarily from a point of view, the kind of executive development programs which we are doing. Please participate. Please tell your branch to start those courses. immediately. And now you see the kind of opportunity which is available because of FAFD. 17,000 chartered accountants who have qualified, if they don't understand in corporate sector, bank and NBFCs, regulatory and government agencies, capital markets and others, how things are actually sitting in. Just see, everywhere there is an opportunity. We are waiting for people to come and give us work. You need to reskill yourself. My request is that, please request you. Again, I am telling you, don't be late. Don't be late. Now, government is having a lot of expectation from us that we should be ready with the newer thoughts and newer vision. It's very, very critical. Now, finally, the most important thing which I would like to share in this entire revamp of DAB is we are completely moving from theoretical to practical and hands-on experience. This is something which we need to adopt very seriously and move forward. Apart from that, if I have missed out, I'll request my faculties to just take it up. These are all the executive development programs which are lying with us. You can take any one of them. Let us know. There are residential courses which are there. We are very happy to say that all the residential courses which are happening are of great success because people from different parts of the country have come. They started training because they don't have to go back to home. They are staying in the residential premises. These people are able to sit till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Even when they get up in the morning, they are able to deliberate and get it more activated rather than just living with the theory part. So there is a lot amount of learning which is happening at the residential courses. Please participate. One request for all you people. And finally, only one thing, friends, which I would like to tell after talking to you for such a long time. We as an institute are trying to give what best we can give. It is you as a professional have to learn this. The doors of opportunity, the opportunities are knocking your doors continuously. I showed them with the numbers, but if beyond that, we cannot talk. We can, what you might say that, look, these all courses are theoretical. We converted them to practical. We converted them to hands-on experience. We converted them to a capstone project. We converted them to sandbox learning. We converted them to group learning. Beyond this, I think institute cannot do much. I think we have done our best and we have the faculties with us who are going to take us through the entire presentation for 10 to 15 minutes each on what we are teaching in each of this area. And faculties, if by chance I missed out anything, you are there to cover. तो ऐसा भी हमारा काम खाली स्ट्रैटेजी देने का है सर. आप लोग है एग्जीक्यूशन बताने के लिए. We are thankful to you all people and thanks to each and every person who is participating. I hope we could justify our input, our webinar with you all people. If you people, we are actually going to, we may continue the similar webinar in the next month on a similar ground because people who have missed out this one, they can attend the next one. So we want people to know the 360 degree of what DAB is doing on a continuous basis. So over to you, Ankur, for taking it forward.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing the DAB's initiatives. Your thoughts have clearly set the context for today's deliberation and highlighted how the profession is evolving towards a technology-driven future. We now move to our technical sessions where our eminent speakers will take us through specific opportunities areas in the digital era. So I would request Vittal Raj, sir, to start with this presentation, sir.
Yep. So, good morning to everyone. Thank you, Dr. Ankur. And I think we started off on a wonderful keynote by both the vice chairman and the chairman. Rightfully so, I think the stage is set, as you rightly said. And most importantly, I think in every institution, you require that important torchbearer who can take forward the profession into the next era. I think our chairman, sir, Mr. Daya, has done that job wonderfully, because I have been only the new entrant after a long sojourn. When I joined back the institute's committees. But I must say that one of the key drivers for me was people like Mr. Dayanivas, whose spirit is amazingly infectious, and he has been effectively taking the digital assurance torchbearer, is what I would call him, because he has really led that from the front, and he made sure he wanted to come back, even though he had much more plum positions, back as chairman of DAB, to make sure that he completes this business by himself. So that's his spirit and energy, and I would like to continue with the same energy, launching ourselves into the first area of understanding what are these opportunities, because as chartered accountants, we always start with saying, okay, this is one more course, wonderful, okay, one more, regulation, but where exactly are the opportunities? And I'm sure many DISA qualified who have been qualified earlier had this big grouse to say, where are the opportunities? However, I would like to start with my understanding and my story, where I think if you look, you will see. That's what I have seen. I qualified CISA first way back in 1997. And then, of course, the very first batch of DISA, I was there as a candidate. And obviously, we are talking about pre-Y2K days. And you can imagine that nobody even nobody even understood what you talk about when you say, IS audit or whatever. Cybersecurity was hardly known. But I can tell you that once we started elucidating to some of our clients and contacts to say, hey, these are the risks that you have, which are inherent to an information system and which directly impact your business, they started sitting up and listening to us. And that is how we took 5 long years. Of course, that was days when we had no support from anywhere. Now you have so much of support from the institute, from the media, from the industry. But those were the days, when we, after 5 years, we got our first truly systems audit client. And from there, I think there has been no looking back. In fact, I have been wanting to retire, and I have been denied this privilege because the clients and friends keep on pushing. And I'm sure you'll hear the same story from many of my friends who would be speaking after me. So there is a tremendous demand for cybersecurity, systems audit professionals, especially from a chartered accountant's perspective. Why? Because I can tell you that if you see way back 2000 and afterwards, the amount of digitization that has undergone right across the globe, and especially in India, is amazing. Thanks to the pandemic, one of the positive outcomes for us in India was the surge and the kind of success that the Digital India program really met with. And that kind of created a big kind of buzz across the industry to say, hey, you better digitize, and there could be one more pandemic and you don't know how to run your business. Many businesses shut down, I'm sure you know, during that pandemic. But we also learned something during that time. I'm sure there'll be many of us friends here who were doing for the first time statutory auditing from home, internal auditing from home. And we successfully completed projects using, conferencing tools, talking to the client, and remotely examining electronic documents. So we were able to do a wonderful job around that. So I think we have to understand, when we say opportunities, there is an equal responsibility for us to start looking within our clientele first and looking around us where the opportunities are. But thanks, I know your job is not so difficult today, because you have an army of regulators who are actually driving the need for digital assurance. And that's exactly where, if you really look at the size of the economy as it was a couple of years back, and when we look at the digital economy today, and which is kind of said to be about 20% of our GDP, and we are looking at 2047 when the Viksit Bharat dream would be launched, is $23 billion is what's the size of this digital economy going to be. And mind you, when you and me or our parents at home or the kids use any of these mobile banking applications or any app for that matter, because everything today works on an app, the biggest worry at the back of our mind is it safe? How do I trust this? After all, I'm putting in my money here, my transactions, my assets. So that's kind of so much sensitive, if you really see. And that's exactly the line of thought we have to catch with our clients, because the clients do not understand the tech or the jargons of IT. Where we need to really pitch in is to make sure that we are talking in the most simplest and common language, and that only a chartered accountant can do that. I have seen, because when I started my career, honestly, if I can tell you, there was a little kind of I would call it kind of shadow bullying by the IT guys, because they say, oh, you are an accountant, what the hell do you know about IT? But actually, we are not looking for core IT here. We are looking at controls and want to understand a very simple thing. You call this as a computer. Okay, for me, it's a black box. I want to understand how this control works. As simple as that. So once we start taking that direction, I think, and the best step forward that any chartered accountant can take today, with your existing profile, having absolutely zero knowledge of systems audit, is your application audits and IFC. I mean, these are two starting points which can completely, launch your career in system audit. And let's be clear. I mean, when you look at these numbers, the future is nothing but systems audits, right? All this that we are doing today with regard to the way that we do these audits is entirely going to change. And we are going to already are seeing newer opportunities emerging in every dimension of our economy and around us. The biggest problem today that everybody is facing, and the government is really wanting somebody to give the answers, as Daya sir rightly said, is the widening digital trust deficit. And that's exactly where we can play the role as digital trust assurance professionals. The reason being, first of all, if you really look at, there is a distinct difference between a chartered accountant doing an audit and a non-chartered accountant doing an audit. We should not forget that IT is for business and not the other way around, right? Therefore, it is very important to understand the entire IT from a business perspective. Many of the banks today are extremely unhappy with the quality of audit which is turned out by non-chartered accountants, because unfortunately, they do not understand the business side of the impact of what technology can do. And that's exactly where, we pitch in, because typically we are obviously trained, and the kind of training that we undergo is the kind of guerrilla training that we undergo, and we are made experts in risk management. We are made experts in internal control, understanding business processes, understanding how business works, and then of course audit. So if you really look at this, that's the core of what the board wants to listen. I have seen that when I address the board, I have absolute confidence and control over what I am saying, because I am talking their language. But addressing something which they are very, very scared of, because they have one maybe person who is not so groomed on the business side coming and telling them about the risks in cybersecurity, and they say, I mean, what exactly is it? What am I supposed to do with this information? So that's where the entire conversation goes. So that's actually exactly where we need to understand that we already hold a ground there on that. But at the same time, there is work to be done, because you got to make sure that we first understand what these opportunities that are coming up are, and what do we need to do with ourselves in terms of upskilling and upgrading. And that's exactly where I think Institute has done a marvelous job. I must say the DAB's work, which I have been seeing the last couple of years, has been absolutely wonderful, because imagine visionary launching something called DAB, the Digital Auditing and the Auditing and the Accounting and Assurance Board, somewhere long back. And that shows the vision of the Institute to say that we were absolutely serious about the digital. And today, DAB is turning out much more programs than any other committee, as you would see, and obviously so. And if you see, many of these flagship certifications are getting a makeover, because we realize that there are areas we are not performing. We are not really there in terms of what the market demands as a systems audit professional and what we are. And that's exactly where, Daya sir has spearheaded this transition to DISA 4.0, which is going to be one of the most revolutionary courses, I would think, because that's, as you were saying, it's completely going to be hands-on. The most important thing, please understand, is when regulators are looking at us, look at who are the regulators, who our work is affected by and who mandate audits in systems. Number one, RBI, of course. Then you have fundamentally every company that you audit, you have to do an IFC audit. And an IFC audit involves a set of evaluation of the digital parameters. So if you really look at it, it starts right from where we are already there. And the question is only how much seriously do we take it as not just an execution exercise, but a learning exercise. And as Daya sir was also pointing out, the requirement of audit trails, or simply look at the SEBI, the new LODR requirements on cybersecurity, they are pretty onerous. And the board and the senior management is pretty perplexed, because they don't know how to handle this. And exactly they want a guy who understands their business and tell them, hey, this is your business risk, this is what you need to do, not scare them with all the red marks on the screen. And that's exactly where I think our role is recognized as part of the Companies Act requirement and the SEBI requirement as such. Of course, RBI trusts us in so many different ways, and there is a whole lot of opportunities in systems audit. If you really see every bank of whatever size, whatever frame, right, starting from the simple Grameen bank, right up to the MNC bank, everybody needs to get in their systems in place and controls embedded in them working for them. So that's exactly where, if you see, the entire range of different kind of digital audits really open up. And RBI, as you know, through their directions, has mandated several of these audits, which are not only for just the banks, but also for NBFCs and even the fintechs and the emerging, technology environment, the companies as such. And then you have the IREI. I think only last week, I'm sure you see significant amendments in cybersecurity framework which have come about. SEBI already released last year one of the most profound frameworks on cybersecurity, is the CSERF. And then you have the Pension Fund Regulatory Authority also coming up with the requirements on systems audit. CERT-In, of course, has been mandating that there is a panel that is maintained. It is important that we chartered accountants get into that panel in as many numbers as possible and make sure we turn around the entire scenario of how audits are done. And then, of course, we have the emerging, the DPB, the board which is now constituted for the Digital Protection, the Digital Protection Board of India. And then we have the NCIIPC, which also mandates audits. Then you have the Ministry of Home Affairs, which has also mandated several audits, and several of these requirements also come from different perspectives. Then you have the Department of Telecommunication, which also has come up with significant requirements, especially with regard to the anti-money laundering and the online threats, the mobile threats. Then we have the Central Electricity Regulatory Authority, which is also from a utilities perspective mandating quite a lot of controls. The NPCI already is there, mandating a lot of controls. You have the control of certifying authorities, who also mandates a lot of audits. So if you really look at it, the list goes on and on. You have the GIFT, you have the DGCA, you have the UIDAI. There's only an army of more regulators joining that, each of them coming up with an opportunity which is talking from the business risk side to tell them what is there in the cyber that they are not looking at or which need no more attention as such. And that's exactly where, if you see the number of systems audits that are already there and are going to be in the market, we already have a huge deficit of people who can really do a good audit. And that's exactly where the chartered accountants really need to fill in those numbers. If you really look at the concerns around many of these regulators are starting from simple numbers, which are derived from these digital systems. We need to understand RBI is already talking about dark patterns, which means any unethical ways of nicely camouflaging the way that your app looks, but making sure that your clients fall for it, and which is not really an ethical thing to do. So dark pattern audits itself are already coming in. Then you have the internal financial controls and the internal control audits, which are today completely embedded across systems. And unless and until we look at multiple systems, we'll not be able to provide that kind of assurance. Then you have due diligence on IT. Then you have IT valuations. You have, the cyber fraud, which is an emerging, requirement under many of these regulations. Every bank today needs to demonstrate a forensic capability as part of their SOC. So therefore, if you really look at it, you have forensic accounting and digital forensics, which have huge opportunities waiting for us. The only thing required is that you need to have the inclination of your talent towards that. Then, of course, you have the privacy audits which are coming in. You have compliance in every dimension by those systems to say that are they doing the right thing? If you really look at the systems which run artificial intelligence modules, the biggest problem there is, how do I know that these numbers are trustworthy? And that's exactly where, if you see, the chartered accountant's role comes in to audit AI systems, which is going to be the next, I'm sure, focus area for the DAB when we come to that. So agentic. We started with AI, we said agents, then we said agentic. All this is creating huge amount of risk for the client, for the business, because they don't know what's going to happen with them. How do they operate? Even if you look at the founders of these apps, they don't know how this operates. So that's where the need for a chartered accountant to upgrade and upskill themselves in these technologies from a chartered accountant's perspective, and see that we are equipped already. The quantum, which has been talked about for a long while, is holding a huge forte in the future, because we are going to look at a complete shattering of the existing encryption algorithms that are going to take place. And RBI is already working on that. You have ministries or government set up. There is a 6,000 crore project on quantum which is happening. So I think we are looking at the post-quantum, what is going to happen to the cybersecurity in the entire protected space. And that's a huge area of audit which is going to be. Then you already have robotics and supply chain and a whole lot of automation on cobots and a whole lot of things. All of them need assurance. And that's exactly where, if you see, the bulk of opportunities really come by. But all that is, looks nice, but unless and until you launch yourself, as I always keep saying, you can read a 100-page illustrated book and say, oh, how to ride a bicycle, but you know what is going to happen to you. All you need is get onto the bicycle, fall twice, and you learn how to ride the bicycle. That's exactly what is required of you when it comes to hands-on experience with systems audits, cybersecurity audits, and privacy audits, which where I think the chairman rightly said that the institute itself is creating a cyber range of sorts. Right. I think I'm almost out of my time. Just take 2 minutes and wind it up. So broadly, if you see, there is very clearly, if you look for those opportunities, they are very clearly there. Then you'll see there is a qualification saying that, oh, you should be a DISA or a CISA. Well, obviously, that's where we need to move ourselves and make sure we are, upgrading ourselves and upskilling ourselves on those aspects. And I think you have already seen the kind of layout of the cuisine in terms of the number of courses that already the institute offers. So I think it is for us to choose whichever areas we want to get into and see that we specialize in those areas, start with our existing clients. Don't ask them for any money, simply do it pro bono, and that's where you will find your experience really starts. And there is always this big complaint to say, oh my goodness, I missed the bus. I am too old for all this. If you are old, you are gold. The reason being because your wisdom is what is going to fire all the technology and the algorithms in the future. So you come with tremendous amount of experience. Building a machine learning algorithm for fraud detection requires tremendous amount of insights into how exactly fraud happens. And that's where I think the seniors like you as chartered accountants come in, and that not only in the field of fraud detection, although in every dimension where you have your wisdom. So your wisdom is very much valuable, and that is what is going to be sold as tomorrow's algorithms, if you really see. Then, of course, we have this big complaint saying, oh, I am remotely located. I know all this is not for me. It is very much for you. There are many chartered accountants who are already sitting in very remote villages and doing some fantastic work overseas. So location doesn't really matter. Your skill matters, and how you really position yourself matters. So I would like to close this with this here, just to say that of course, the regulatory setup today is such that it already provides for significant amount of work, and you're going to learn about each and every domain with my friends who are going to speak after me. But let me also tell you that the government itself and the regulators themselves require chartered accountants who can help them with putting their house in order digitally. And that is going to be another big opportunity. If you really look at the kind of interactions that institute is having with CAG, they are, we could never think a CAG could think like that. So you're looking at revolutionary thought process. I think we are in the midst of a very important change. And those of us who want to be on the other side, we got to move ourselves and cling on there and do what's necessary. And the future is going to be us. That's it from me. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity given, and thank everyone for your time. Back to Ankur.
Thanks, sir. Thank you for your insights on opportunities in government and regulatory body. Now I would request Uday Kulkarni, sir, for his deliberations on opportunities in the DPDP Act. Over to you, sir.
Thanks, Ankur, and warm welcome to all of you, all the participants. You have seen now how energetic our chairman and vice chairman for the DAB is acting, and their encouragement, support, and discipline. You should understand that it's tough discipline which both of them are maintaining, and that's why the various programs which you have just listened from our chairman, sir, all those programs were achieved by all of us because of that tough discipline. And of course, that is very much required in any profession. And that is the reason that I can say that all the profession, the CA profession, the businesses, the service providers, all of them, they are transforming themselves in a digital movement. And that is quite obviously witnessed by all of us. Even the trainings in the kids schools, you can see that there is a large amount of digital transformation. And so everybody is now going to have a kind of in touch with this technology, which is joining us to this digital or the cyber world. I'm happy to say that the data right now, if we are going to talk about the data as a thing or something which we can exchange, it is not what we are doing here. What we are actually sharing right now, also when we are talking, when we are discussing something right now on this platform, also. So it is actually the data. You can see that now when you say that I am transforming the money, right? So you are actually not transforming the currency. What you are transforming, you are exchanging only the data. So let's say if you have to transform rupees 1,000 from your account to somebody else's account, what you are doing? It's not the currency which you are going to pay to that particular person, but actually what you are paying, the data from your app or from your UPI to the other person's account. So all about that data. Right now I'm talking, that is a speech. That is also data. Whatever the visualizing thing which you are right now experiencing on the screen, that is also the data. So everything is there in the form of data nowadays, right? And I wonder when a particular bank says or a particular institution says that we have achieved so much of the business, or the business says that, okay, we have done the turnover of so much of the amount, or even the chartered accountants who are doing the internal audits or the statutory audits, what they actually do that, actually they are handling the lots and lots of amounts of data. So if the company says that my turnover is around 500 crores, so how can they display that? Right? Earlier, were the days when they were writing all these on the documents, papers. But nowadays, it is only in the digital form, and you are actually verifying all the things in a data mode manner. And that's how there was a talk about the protection of the data on the larger scale. And then they bifurcated the things about then what kind of a data which is getting exchanged, what kind of a data which needs to be required more kind of a protection, what kind of a data that is going to be misused and which is going to be harmful to the person's privacy, individual privacy. Remember here, protection and the privacy, these are two different words. And that's why I think every individual, whether he is in or she is in India or outside India, they all have experienced some kind of an data privacy related issues, right? Privacy here in India, we know that our constitution has accepted the privacy as a fundamental rights through our constitution, right? So privacy is a total different thing. But what is happening when my data is going to be getting shared through various digital platforms? So my name is going to be disclosed, my voice is going to be disclosed, right? My mobile number is going to be disclosed on various digital platforms. So is it going to affect my privacy? And that's where the question comes. Yes, of course, if you are going to share so many of your personal data on the digital platforms, it is definitely going to affect your privacy, right? And that's why now you have all experience, even we have experience that when we share the mobile, we expect that when we share the mobile, it needs to be used for the rightful manner and for the rightful purposes. For what purposes we have shared that? But unfortunately, what we have seen that many times we are receiving unwanted calls, many times we are receiving unwanted advertisement, many times we are getting into the trap of some frauds and all these things what we are looking into. So the thing is that the protection of this personal data, which is in the digital form, needs to be protected, enacted, and there must be some law related to that. And that's why as we have already talked about, there are most of the countries out of the 194 countries in the world, almost 140 plus countries have adopted, enacted this Digital Personal Data Protection Act. And that's how also India, in India also, we have enacted this Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023, and the rules have just came out, I think in the last year. But this is the one of the important thing that this act is in a lot of talk. See, normally what happens when actually the implementation of the act starts, then actually the talk happens. but still there is a 1 year gap. Almost you can see actually the implementation can be looked into whether the implementation has been done or not by the end of May 2027. But even before that, there is a huge amount of talk related to this act into the normal person's discussions or even the professional discussions and everywhere. Even the chartered accountants are having a little bit discussions in this. But the thing is that whether the chartered accountant can have any role to play in this act, that is the important thing which one has to understand. And as Dayabhai has rightly said, that ICAI DAB has the first institute in the accounting world which has launched the forensic accounting standards. ICAI DAB is the first institute in the world which has launched the information system audit standards in the world as an accounting body. And friends, let me tell you that ICAI is the first accounting body which has specifically crafted out the certification course on this Digital Personal Data Protection Act as a regulator. Even though there are 140 plus countries which are having this DPDP kind of an act, Digital Personal Data Protection kind of an act, you search on the net and you will find out that how many countries accounting regulator have launched this kind of a certification course. And there I would like to salute the visionaries and the leaders of this ICAI, the president, vice president, our chairman sir, vice chairman sir, because this is the first time that is happening in India. And we as a chartered accountant, we as an institute is coming in front and saying that, no, we chartered accountants, we are technologically so confident that we are going to contribute for the compliances, ensuring the compliances of these acts and the rules in this India. And that's where the opportunities are lying here. And yes, there is some kind of a discussion that is it only the legal compliances which needs to be ensured? Yes, the answer is yes. But at the same time, the technological compliances also needs to be ensured. So both the sides needs to be taken care by enacting or ensuring the compliances of this act, right? So you can see we chartered accountants, we are working across various sectors. We are working for the banking and financial sector. We are working for the medical and healthcare, insurance sector, e-commerce. So everywhere, even in the retail sector, right? So many of our chartered accountant friends, they are working for the retail sectors, even for the small shopkeepers. They are working for the contractors, real estate sectors. And all these sectors, they are one or another way, they are collecting a personal data. And all those data, as we are now seeing that most of the business processes are digitalized. All of these sectors are mostly digitalized. So whenever they are going to collect the data, you can experience when somebody is building a commercial complex or let us say residential complex, what he or she is doing as a contractor, they are collecting a lot of personal data, isn't it? When they are selling the residential houses to any individual, what they are collecting a lot of personal data. So you name the sector and you will find that a lot of exchange of personal data is going to be happen there. And all these sectors are coming under the applicability of this DPDP Act and the rules. So you cannot name out that, okay, this is one particular sector which is exempted. Yes, there are exempted sectors. I can understand that there are certain things, there are certain actions which are exempted under that act. But you can see that as a chartered accountant, we are providing our services to various sectors, and all of those sectors are now come under the scope of this act, one way or other. Some of the sectors and their players will be declared as a significant data fiduciary. That is the next step. But even for the compliances purposes, even to demonstrate that, and why the compliances will come under this, it is not because of some regulatory body will pitch that. Remember, what will happen? It is the customer, it is the client who is going to raise objection if his or her personal data is not utilized in a particular fashion. And every individual in India, they have suffered one way or another way by receiving unwanted advertisement, receiving unwanted, marketing calls and all that stuff. हैरान हो गए सब. And what is going to happen the moment now they will come to know that this is the way my mobile number is going to be used. Now they come to know now there is a mechanism. There is a data protection board. I can file a complaint with the data protection board. And once the complaint will be there with the data protection board, whether the player is a small or a big, that particular entity has to face that complaint and they have to ensure to that data protection board that they have implemented all the provisions under the DPD. So it is not the regulatory driven act. Please understand that it is the consumer or the customer driven act, something like the Consumer Protection Act. And that's why the ensuring the compliances, support for the compliances, we chartered accountants are there. Why? Again, Vittal Raj sir has rightly said in his speech that it is the business context. It is the business context which needs to be understood, and who else than the chartered accountants can tell them what is the impact of all these things from the business context point of view to these sectors. Take an example. Let us say there is a one company which is involved into the marketing of some product. Now what they are doing? Now they are using largely the WhatsApp numbers. They are using largely the mobile numbers, whatever the data they do have with themselves. The question will be if the chartered accountant is doing some kind of services. Let's say the chartered accountant is doing the statutory audit or internal audit of that company. We have to ensure the compliances of various provisions of the acts. So the simple question will be there. If you are the marketing company, you are spreading so much of the calls on the mobiles and the WhatsApp numbers, whether you have taken the consent for these marketing calls, that is as per the provisions of the DPDP Act. And if that consent is not there, what is going to happen? Of course, the customers or one of the client will lodge the complaint with the Data Protection Board of India, and that should be the starting point to get an investigation or inquiry. Again, that would be another opportunity for some of the chartered accountants. So that's why it is not the regulatory driven act, it is the consumer or the customer driven act, and that's why the applicability would be wide. And chartered accountant who is understanding the business context well, he or she can deliver lots of things for the compliances purposes and for the support services for this act. So let us come to the opportunities. What are the opportunities under this act for the chartered accountants? We understand the processes. We understand the need of the data. We understand in which business processes the client is capturing the personal data. Right? What is the purpose for which they are capturing the personal data? So we all know from this business context point of view. And that's why we can better tell all the banks, to the financial sectors, to the insurance companies, even to the retail shopkeepers, that when you are collecting such an amount of personal data, which you are converting into the digital personal data, what is the requirement? What is the kind of a protection you may require? What kind of a storage you may require? What kind of a technical, security measures you need to adopt for that? Because we understand all these processes. So in that case, you can act as a compliances advisor to such a small shopkeepers or even to the big bankers, which can be declared as a significant data acquisition. So compliance advisory is the first and foremost which can easily be available to all the chartered accountants. Even if you can tap your existing clients where you are providing the services of an internal audit, that is the biggest playground for you to tap the opportunity to give the advisory, compliances advisory on this Digital Personal Data Protection Act. Of course, the audit, chartered accountant and audit, very close relation, we all know that. And there are two things which are coming directly in our plate as an audit. One, if your entity is going to be declared as a significant data fiduciary, the Act has mandated an independent data audit annually. Right. So after completion of the certification course, having some skills, technical skill set, and of course, understanding of these legal provisions, we can be there for providing this an independent data audit for that significant data fiduciary. Even your entity is not falling under the class of that significant data fiduciary. Forget about that. What will happen? If there will be a complaint against that entity from any customer, any of their client to the Data Protection Board, or even otherwise, and even though it is not falling under the significant data fiduciary class, an independent or data audit will be required, or investigation or inquiry about that things will be required under the provisions of this Act. The next type of an audit is a periodic audit for the protection of the rights of the data principals. And that is not a class-wise. Please remember that. That is not a class-wise. This could be your scope of work as a part of your internal audit also. So how the organization, how the company, how the bank, how the insurance company, how the contractors, how the retail supply chains, they are protecting the rights which are offered by this Act to their data principals, that means to their customers. And whether all the protections, all the measures the entity has been adopted for the protection of the data, and that is required to be audited separately under the provisions of this Act. And this is also an annual audit. The next thing which is required is the data protection impact assessment. Right? So again, the business context, the inventory of the digital personal data, the inventory of our services, the requirement, minimization, who is having all this knowledge readily available. And friends, unfortunately, what happens when such kind of an legal provisions came out, when such kind of an any framework come out by the government side, it is the engineers, it is the advocates who are quick learners from these provisions of the Act. But we tend to be a slow learners towards that. And sometimes we feel that, oh, it is not my cake. But now be energetic for that also. It is your cake. You are understanding so many things about the businesses. And that's why what you may require some kind of a technical knowledge that is coming from your DISA or some other technical qualification. Because we are already doing the systems audit or some technical audits for that purposes. And even one more audit will be available there because this requires the consent and notice management. A separate and independent audit of the notice and consent management is also mandatory under the provisions of this Act. So you can see the ample amount of audit scope is there for the different purposes. And of course, a compliances related advisory is also there. So you can plug in all these requirements as a preparedness level audit, either as an internal auditor, and if you are doing the statutory audit of any company, of any entity, you have to now ensure that all these precautions have been complied with. And don't forget, our auditing standards have given you enough space. Because let us say that there is a one contractor company which is in the construction and you are in the statutory audit and they are residing their data in the cloud-based services. What is going to happen? So they are availing the third-party services. That becomes the data processor. Whatever is the mandatory for the protection of the digital personal data for that data producer, the same thing is required to be mandated by the data processor in the cloud services. And that's called the third-party audit. The third-party audit is mandatory under our auditing standards, but we are not going to make any use. We are not still use the power of that auditing standards. Now here, if you find that your company is in the construction, they are sharing the data in the cloud services, you should ask for the third-party audit that whether the cloud processor as a data processor is protecting the right of the data principals. And whatever be the measures required, technological measures, legal measures, which needs to be adopted by that particular entity has been adopted by the data processor. The compliances part needs to be adopted. Otherwise, there could be the devastating penalty. You can see that 250 crores. Of course, there are slabs for that, but it is a huge amount. For a smaller company, it could be the issue of the going concern. So why to wait? Right? So we need to be prepared for all these coming up things, and it is knocking our doors. Literally, this is the act which is knocking your doors. कि भाई आ जाओ और मैंने आपको इतनी अपॉर्चुनिटी दे दी है, just tap it and get it done. Of course, your DISA qualification coupled with the data protection compliance certificate, which our ICAI, as I again repeating, this could be the first accounting body which is already launched, and the 2 batches have already been completed for this certification. So these are the 3 things. We must understand the legal provisions. We must understand the data governance related things. We may understand the risk related to that and the technical measures to be adopted and all the legal provisions for the protection of the legal rights of the data principal. That is what is required, even though it is a very small act, but a very effective one And this could be a game changer for the chartered accountant who wants to enter in this technology related field. So my request to all of you, come join, and the opportunity which is knocking your door, just open the door, take up the technical knowledge or whatever the certification courses that is going to offer by the ICI, and take up this opportunity with all sides of the hands. Thank you very much, and over to you, Ankur.
Sir, thank you. Thank you, there, sir, for your session. Now we have with us Dr. Saurabh Maheshwari, sir, who would be covering opportunities in the IT and cyber security area. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ankurji. And thanks very much, DAF, for inviting me to speak up on a topic which is, you can say, the burning topic of today. And at the same time, when it comes to the market we are dealing into, this is something which is going to give you the biggest opportunity. Daya sir's initiative and the initiative of DABs are like, no words to say on that. Fine. But to sum up, I can say that the way I see AI is coming up with upskilling courses and some sort of programs for their members, I believe there is no looking back for an institute wherein the core committee is thinking of each and every member who is working at the root or maybe at the branches at different junctures of the industry. So I'll be focusing on one particular aspect in which you all are working, which is the MSME industry. And I don't know whether how many of you are aware or not. The CERT-In, which is the one of the regulatory body established under the Information Technology Act, has come up with their own guidelines for MSMEs. Now, why this MSME sector and why cybersecurity is a core area to talk on? Let me just give you a small roadmap for what exactly is the MSME industry and how they are contributing. So there are close to 7.5 crore MSMEs in the country as per the records published on the website of government. They contribute to somewhere close to 31% of the entire GDP. That means almost one third comes from these MSMEs. 90% plus practicing chartered accountants are major advisor to MSMEs. Fine. That means it becomes not only the bread and butter, but I think the lifeline for chartered accountants when you are serving MSME market. But in last 2 years, if I'll talk about 2024-25, which compiled report is available to us, 43% of the entire digital attacks, which Sir has already pointed out very well that we are second most attacked country in the world. And out of those number of attacks which are affecting to the Indian digital ecosystem, 43% attacks are on 75% plus MSMEs. And that's a report which is there published by CERT-In. Now, considering this particular risk market, CERT-In is a forefront running body which has come up with something known as 15 elemental cyber defense controls. Right. So these controls are just to make sure that the MSME, which is the backbone of the entire country, is being governed and regulated and secured properly in a very systematic manner. Fine. So rather than going haphazard and haywire, these 15 elemental controls, which are broken down into 45 implementation recommendations, is now going to be the kind of roadmap which needs to be done. And why I always say the chartered accountants are the best people to do it, because you already are in the center of two areas, which is financial oversightness and regulatory compliances for the MSMEs. Why not enhance your sphere and enter into cyber risk management as well? This is coming up as a new operational opportunities for you all, because you are sitting at the core when you are guiding all those things, and controls are obviously to make sure that non-regulatory things is not coming up, plus the financial resources and intellectual property of an MSMEs is protected very strongly. So CAs are highly analytical. You are driven by compliances, and you are already the most trusted stakeholders in the entire advisory panel. Just add on one more part to that by understanding these particular 15 elemental controls. Fine, so you can bet into this new opportunity. And let me tell you from an outsider of ICAI point of view, the courses which are being designed by ICAI, including DISA course and all, are covering all these 15 controls from ages. See, that means we are already running ahead of the time. So the 15 elemental control which are suggested, we are by default covering it from last around 6 years of DISA 3.0. And these 15 elemental controls will be covered up from the practical point of view, from implementation point of view, from technical point of view in the upcoming DISA 4.0. That means if the fundamental clarifications are there with you, it just become another 50 plus hours of learning, and you can enter into this particular dimension to MSME advisories. Right now, why this is again very important, because the burden on the digital risk and the after effects of any digital incident which has happened upon MSMEs, the quantum of loss of revenue, the reputation, and the stakeholder trust which is there is uncountable. Fine. And I am sure you know that major MSMEs are not actually considering these kind of problem statement as of now. The statement which most of your client does it, जब होगा तब देख लेंगे. My point is that अगर हुआ तो देखने का समय ही नहीं रहेगा. Right? So entire controls which are being prescribed by certain are divided into 4 categories primarily. Fine. And the category 1 is related to governance and compliances, which is by default a core area of consulting of chartered accountant. So they talks about third-party management. That talks about governance and compliances sort of controls which needs to be implemented. Then if you talk about the second business risk pillar, that is infrastructure hygiene, in which the controls we should implement on MSME is related to effective asset management. We can talk about network and email securities. We should talk about something called endpoint and mobile securities, something connected to secure configuration of the entire IT infrastructure, and talk about physical securities as well. I am sure the terminologies which are being discussed up here, which are being put up into small acronyms up here, you all are aware of these terminologies. I am sure no terminology is outside your domain area. When you talk about identity access management, you know that most of the MSMEs or any of the bigger corporate also, they make sure that people who are entering the premises and doing some sort of work within themselves are identified appropriately and the right access privileges are given to them. So that includes the robot password policy, which has been put on up as RPP up here. Then comes access management and identity management. And last is awareness and training. Mark my words, if you are qualified IAS auditors or forensic advisors or data protection officers or DPDP certificates and all, I'm sure the basic understanding of the policies and the training becomes a core part of yours. So you cannot just implement those things. You can also make sure that capacity building of the organizations and making them in tune with all this can be very well handled. And thereafter, what is your bread and butter is resilience and auditing, in which incident management, logging and monitoring, fine, data protection, backup and recovery planning, and vulnerability audit and assessments. This is the 4th dimension. So when it comes to MSME, I think these 4 core pillar areas, along with 15 controls and 45 checkpoints, this is just a small framework as compared to the other global framework which are there in marketplace, which are talking about 90 plus controls or 200 plus touch points areas and all. They are very precise. And Certain has made this particular model so easy that you, with your basic understanding of business plus understanding of risk parameter and some sort of upskilling program which are being planned by DAB, can make you competent to do all this. Fine. So if you deep dive into all this, I have put up something in a more descriptive manner that what exactly are these governance and compliance aspects are. And I'm sure the terminologies are very well known to you all. I will also talk about what kind of revenues you can generate later on, so that it becomes a complete understanding of yours that what's the opportunity, how to grab it, and what are the revenues opportunities connected to that. So you can assign a single infosec, that is point of connect for all Certain licensing. That is what is needed by Certain. And mark my words, these controls are as of now elemental control which can be implemented on choice based. But later on, I am sure these are going to be mandatory controls to be implemented. Now, my small calculation says that with 7.5 crore MSMEs, if one particular person or one particular chartered accountant or a expert can actually handle as big as 100 clientele, I think we need 7.5 lakh professionals in the country to implement this in the entire nation. Now, that is the one reason why government and their regulatory bodies are not making them mandatory, because they know that back-end manpower is not available. And when that's a gap, I think that becomes an immediate revenue generating opportunity, plus an opportunity in which you are contributing to secure the national digital infrastructure is very well important. And this will lead to what Uday sir has recently said, that DPDP compliance to make the data secure within the boundaries of the country, right? Then if I'll talk about the next two level of control, this is the inner core boundary, which are talking about putting up the controls in such a specific manner that all the shields can be implemented very strongly on MSME's ground, so that every process can be controlled and regulated, or you can say specifically secured in their own manner. So intellectual properties, the patents, the processes in which they are dealing into, everything becomes a critical part of their functioning. So to sum up, this is a three-step process, which I request you all, if you can go for it. That's a three-step advisory, which as a chartered accountant, you can go for it. So first is obviously gap assessment. If you are aware about these MSME related guidelines released by CERT-In, you can go for a gap assessment, that what they are doing right now and what needs to be done to make those gap covered up, right? Then second comes making up their policies and frameworks, which are in tune with the organization requirement, but also making sure that they are in tune with the certain guidelines, and also with the guidelines of the other regulatory bodies if are in force. And then you can go for pre-audit readiness. And thereafter, when you implement that, you can go for a continuous audit part for these MSMEs. Now, if you talk from my perspective, I say that for each and every kind of consulting you can charge. I'm talking about the baselining fees. I'm not talking about the higher fees. Higher, that becomes your capacities and all, or maybe the engagement you have with the client. The bare minimum fees can be somewhere close to 1 lakh rupees. And this particular thing needs to be done once in a year. And if systematically be done, it will take 3 to 4 days of your time. Fine. So if that is the bare minimum fees you can charge, if 20, 30, 40 or 100 clientele, if you are able to take care, I am sure you will be able to understand the quantum of revenue which can be generated. And mark my words, I'm just pointing out the baselining fees, which bare minimum should be connected to that, right? So please make sure you are shifting from your traditional financial audit to the integrated risk advisory, which is a new opportunity for you, right? And I've tried to place them in a very tabular format for comparing that what you are doing right now and what can be connected in the digital ecosystems from the time today onwards, right? So from tangible asset ledger, you can look forward for a digital asset ledger. From Income Tax Act, you can look forward for the certain mandates and data protection acts also. From financial misstatement, you can talk about operational halts, you can talk about ransomware issues, you can talk about cyber liability, right? And then you can put up the certain related baselining readiness report, which today can be an add-on thing, but in time to come can be a mandatory documentation to be submitted at Ministry of Corporate Affairs to make sure that you are cyber resilient and cyber secure, right? So the phases you can implement is like, first phase is that MSMEs are not aware of all these things. So if a particular group can be created by you, and if you can make some sort of awareness sessions for the clients to let them be aware about these kind of scenarios and these kind of compliances coming up, I think that becomes the starting point of yours. And out of those sensitization workshops, you can look forward for a small clients, which can be immediately kind of playground for you for working, and you can look forward for their readiness assessment. Then obviously comes up the policies of recommendations and annual audit referrals. Mark my words, once in a year needs to be done. So that means a cyclic involvement of yours with your MSME client can happen with this, right? So this is a small mechanism in which the first mechanism in or the steps in which you can actually go for it. It is just a diagrammatical and presentation for you. Obviously, because of time limitations, I will not be able to talk about much on this, but I think the vision which the institute and we all as a faculty team trying to give it to you is the opportunity which are coming up. this is the roadmap advisory. I believe if you can go for the timeline which is given up here, which I am implementing at few of the MSMEs, this will give you some sort of vision that how the process needs to be executed to get this into IS audit and security related effort areas and opportunities for you. So friends, just a light conclusive line for you also. Make sure that you are finding out opportunities into this particular domain, as your traditional domains are no more going to be so much lucrative. Start advising from financial compliance side to a cyber side, and make the organizations and the entire India digital ecosystem as resilient and as secure as possible. So that's all from my side. And thank you, Dav, again for inviting me as a non-chartered accountant to be in front of you all. And this is just a beginning of the new areas and new forefronts, which can lead you to the next level of professional heights. Thank you, Ankur sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Saurabh sir. So now we have another expert faculty, Dr. Dugesh Pandey, who would be covering the opportunities in the forensic and investigation area. So, sir, since we are running out of time, I would request if you can wind up quickly. So, over to you, sir.
Yes. So thank you very much, the chairman, vice chairman, secretariat, all of you. And I understand it has been a long day today. So very quickly, I'll not take more than 10 minutes of your time. So it's 2:55. We'll finish sharp at 3:05. I would show a slide which our chairman sir showed, and I'll elaborate that, because there are list of agencies and list of services that we can offer. Yeah, we have our chairman sir with us as well. So I'll continue the same slide which chairman sir showed. We'll just discuss in detail. So let me pick it up from where he left. Let me share that slide. Yeah. So this is the slide. I hope it is visible to you. I hope the slides are visible to you.
Yes.
Okay.
You have to confirm to share.
No,
You have to
I am
click on-
no, I am confirming it's not going, it seems. Ankur bhai, if you can share the slide, if it's not.
You may want to try to start the slides again.
Let me try. Let me do that. It seems it's hung.
You share
Anyway,
it with,
Ankur bhai, if you can share it from your end, or let me speak for that. So, typically, as we were discussing, and chairman sir was also telling, let us give some 4 or 5 buckets where these services can be offered, and probably I can share few instances how you can get work, at least how I started getting work. So let us start with the corporate sector. Now, for the corporate sector, please understand, fraud prevention and fraud detection. There are two area of practice, 2 area of work. One is fraud detection. Second is fraud prevention. Now, fraud detection as a service, it is difficult to enter into fraud detection service, but fraud prevention services are relatively easier. And we, being a chartered accountant, that is relatively easy to get, that you will be helping the organization to prevent the fraud. Now, that fraud prevention service can be packaged and it can be sold as something called as fraud risk assessment and heat map. So the first point that I would like to say in corporate sector is that you can very nicely demonstrate fraud risk assessment. Now, fraud risk assessment is an extension of the internal control assessment that we do
for the internal audits. However, here possibilities of collusions and frauds are also checked. So fraud risk assessment is a service that can be offered to corporates. Next, we can give for whistleblower investigations. So almost all large organizations, they do have whistleblowers. And if they don't, we have that option for advising them to create a whistleblower mechanism. If you are thinking big, if you are thinking large, you can create an outsourced entity, shared entity, which can give this whistleblower service. You can have a whistleblower line and you can give this whistleblower service to multiple companies, where multiple companies will be calling on your call center line and they'll be taking the incidents report. You can do a primary evaluation and you can send the report to the company, based on which the company will decide how it has to move forward, whether it will be doing internal investigation, external investigation, or whether the complaint has to be discarded. Next, we have internal financial controls. Of course, an extension of internal financial controls, not simply what is mentioned in the Companies Act. Next, we have anti-bribery and corruption audit. Now, this anti-bribery and corruption audit as such, you know, large organizations do have a system of conflict of interest declaration. They also have a system of declaration of assets and liabilities. At least the public sector organizations, they do have that. And this is a very big area for anti-bribery and corruption, where you can pitch your service. Vendor procurement fraud inquiry. This is one of the most common work that we get on a regular basis, that this vendor of mine is unscrupulous, this vendor does not exist, this vendor is offering kickback, so on and so forth. Then revenue leakage and investigation. Mind you, if you get an engagement on fraud detection, it may overlap with multiple services. So you have revenue leakage and investigation, where all the revenue that an organization ought to receive is not received by the organization. Then we have related party transactions. The parties are disclosed as related, but then the transaction that are happening is not arm's length. There are also M&A and pre-deal forensic due diligence. Now, this is again a very interesting area. In fact, we have done such M&A and pre-deal forensic investigations for companies which want to invest into the other company. So they want to check whether the books are correct. They demonstrate the true position, whether the turnover and the profit figure that are given in the books of account, are they actually correct? So we have that forensic lens and we can do that. So you can, of course, offer this as a service. When we come next, we come to the banking and NBFC insurers. Now, banking, NBFC insurers, these are our prime source of work for forensics. So NPA and loan fraud investigation, concurrent audit, for concurrent audit, there you can check the forensic layer. Then we have trade finance, LC frauds, insurance claim verification. This area of insurance claim verification, this is again a very good area and excellent area. You can be advising both the insurance company or you can be advising the insured. Of course, you are advisor to both, but not simultaneously. So you can play as role of a arbitrator, where you give an independent opinion for the insurance company, or you can give independent opinion for your client that this is the amount of loss in the insurance that has happened. Now, certain policies like the loss of profit policy that we have, indemnity, these are complex. Machine capacity, raw material, yield, time required, all these things have to be checked, which is a unique positioning for chartered accountants where we can do. Then we have digital banking fraud, KYC fraud, credit appraisal and integrity, again, is our core work, which we can do. Mortgage assets and hypothecation frauds, these also we can do in consultation with specialized agency. Now, next comes the regulatory and government agencies. Now, these are not preventive work, but these are again detection work. So corporates, you can pitch with prevention work. Regulatory and government agency, you have detection work. SFIO, very often SFIO publishes tender and they take experts for their large scale investigation. SEBI, we all know SEBI has a huge work pool, where SEBI now if I remember, last year or probably early this year, SEBI came up with an empanelment process, and the number of firms have been enlarged. SEBI gives huge amount of work. We have the Enforcement Directorate, CBI, EOW. They all seek forensic assistance. Now, these are all the EOW, if we say, these are all state specific. CBI, if we say, these are all agency and these are all location specific. ED, yes, they do take the, they do call for proposals for the work. Then NCLT appoints forensic professional. The tribunal, Securities Appellate Tribunal, they appoint professionals. Insolvency and IBC, that is a huge area. Arbitration, arbitral tribunal, because see, all arbitration battle are about financial disputes. The moment financial dispute comes, we chartered accountants are most suitably placed in order to offer the services. Next, particularly if we see the capital market, then in capital market, we have these various types of fraud: insider trading, promoter shareholder fund detection, mis-selling inquiry, NAV manipulation, Benami investments, stock pledge, crypto asset, fintech platform. Now, these are all types of frauds that are being witnessed. And mind you, if you will see the presentation, I have put the list of sources. The list of sources are also here. So SEBI and enforcement agencies, MCA will be giving regulatory agencies, SFIU empanelment, SEBI empanelment, RBI appointed, court appointed. Okay. And last, when we come the practice and PSU NGOs, independent forensic investigation, the audit word is not correct here. It has to be independent forensic investigation, retainer-based fraud prevention advisory, PSU vigilance department. There are a lot of PSUs where vigilance departments, they conduct anti-bribery and procurement related investigation. Export import, we have been approached by an agency in SEZ to investigate whether the goods that are being imported, they are not the same goods that are being exported without adding any value, and whether money laundering activities are not being done. So that is again an area. Grant utilization and NGO fund misuse, this is again a very crucial area. Greenwashing, this is now becoming real, because you know the European countries, they give a lot of weightage. They give a lot of weightage to this green channel and green products. So there are companies which are deliberately misrepresenting that their products are passing those green channel. Then you have GST refund fraud detection, construction infrastructure project overruns. This again goes into arbitration and there is a fight. And last but not the least, this is one of the crucial area, at least where I am very active, academic expert and trainer role. Friends, this is a huge area. All universities are rising up to the occasion and creating courses, curriculum, bachelor's and master's degree catering around this. They are catering around this course. So they are in need of seasoned professionals. They are in need of faculties. They are in need of trainers. Companies are in need of expert trainers. The problem of fraud with digitization has become more and more paramount and real. So organizations have to get their people trained. There is a big capacity creation required in the universities and the academia level. There's a lot of research work which is required. All these are very good source of work in the academia for the forensic accounting domain. Friends, I have taken around 12 minutes of my time. I committed 10 to Ankurji, but I have taken 12 minutes of my time. I hope I have given you something to ponder for and something to look for in the coming times. Thank you so much for listening. And Ankurji, probably you can take over so that we can have the next faculty to finish it off.
Thank you, Durgesh sir. Now can I request Dr. Vinay Saini sir for his session, please?
Thank you, Ankurji. Thank you, DAB committee, for this opportunity, and welcome all listeners to this last segment of our discussion. Let me quickly just share my slide and I'll start. I'm quite sure that you all have been enlightened by the thoughts and opinions and views shared by our chairman, sir, vice chairman, sir, and various faculty members of DAB committee for various courses. And I think one thing is very clear, that digitization is ever expanding, and it is really creating, it's transforming the landscape, risk landscape. And what we need assurance practices. And a practicing chartered accountant can play two roles. One is the auditor, the assurance around the system, and second is the consultant. This is a even bigger opportunity. Every business organization or every practitioner in terms of government or public sector or private sector, they all are facing a lot of problems, challenges in managing their operations. So there are two kind of people which are required. One, the person who can solve their problem. Second, the one who can understand their system and can review whether they are solving the problem in the right way. So it means, as a practicing chartered accountant, there are two opportunities. One as an auditor, second as a consultant. So first comes the consulting part, because you need to understand the business problem, and then you have to recommend or suggest a business case or a solution which can be adopted to address that particular problem. And once that solution is implemented, then the next thing you can do is you can review the effectiveness of that system and whether it is meeting the needs of the organization. So when we talk about what are the opportunities in information system audit, so I think I would start with this statement that our existing client, I'm talking about the CA firms, our existing client is more valuable than our potential new client. So we need to understand what clients we already have, and let's understand their system, where they are facing problems beyond your financial perspective. That is your initial interface of connecting with your clients, right? Where you are offering financial consultancy and various other auditing services in the finance domain. But I think we need to get beyond this now, because the business is heavily dependent on IT, and digital assurance is also required along with financial assurance. So in that concern, I think information system audit is expanding like anything. And Institute has been playing a pivotal role in understanding this need in the market, where information system is driving the operations and it needs to be reviewed in terms of risks and in terms of compliances. But there has been so rapid changes across information systems that we need to have a more robust team which can really take care of ever evolving risks. So with this, Institute has already been transforming from DISA 1 to 2 to 3, and now we are in the process of getting to the 4th level. But at the same time, we need to understand, we must make one thing very clear, that we have to take this accountability and this responsibility, that we are exploring the opportunities by practicing it, not just from the perspective limited to finance. We are exploring our horizons, and we are trying to address more assurance practices in the related IT domains. So when we talk about IS audit, so there are various domains like governance, risk management, compliance, then system development, maintenance, operations, then protection of data and business continuity. And finally, if a company is talking about expanding its business or scaling up using some emerging technologies like AI, blockchain, or RPA, cloud computing. So the ecosystem is huge. So as a practicing chartered accountant, we need to understand what our existing clients are doing. Like, let's say you have a client who's like handling retail business, right? So what kind of IT system that person is using, right? And how he's managing his operations. What are the problems around those operations? So you can understand there are problems in every business organization, but they are not sure on how to address that problem. So there comes a very fundamental need, how an organization works. It's like the whole process goes from top to bottom. So we need to understand, if an organization is not able to meet their business objectives or facing some problem, there is definitely some gap in how they are governing and managing their business. It could be flaw in the business model, it could be flaw in the policies, structures, or segregation of duties, or maybe let's say risk management process is not appropriate, compliances are not addressed, or maybe performance measurement is not been done properly. So there are a lot of areas which need to be addressed. So as a practicing chartered accountant, we must understand what are the best practices available, like COBIT framework is there. And then for compliances, there are specific like practices You have GDPR, then you have PCI DSS, and many more related. Certain and many other regulatory bodies like RBI and SEBI, they have their own regulations, of course, applicable to a specific entity. So the point is, every business has a lot of problems, and somewhere down the line, root causes like top management has missed that aspect to be incorporated in the system in terms of evaluating, directing, or monitoring. So a governance audit is a very effective practice which can help you understand what is the root cause of the problem due to which business organization is facing a lot of problems, right? So governance audit is an exciting practice area. Likewise, the risk management audit, because risks are not good for any organization. And if you see the risk universe, it starts from your financial, then you have accounting, then you have marketing, then you have IT, data compliances, data assurance. There are so many risk areas, operational risk. So we need to understand all those are being part of your risk management process. And risk management process is working as expected. So risk management audit is an exciting practice area. Then business continuity plan audit or business continuity management practices review is a interesting practice area where you are showing you are testing the resiliency of an organization to address any disastrous scenarios which may disrupt their ongoing operations. So after that, you can talk about once the top management practices are done, like what should be there from the perspective of top management, then you come to the actual system. When it comes to like whether the system has been developed in the right manner and whether there are proper change management practices defined, or if you are outsourcing the system development. So we need to review whether we are meeting our objectives for what we are expecting from the system. So system development audit is again an interesting practice area where you can review whether the technology that you are, or the hardware or software systems that you have developed or you are expecting to be used in your organization are meeting your needs or not, right? And once the system is in place and you are working on it, you can make sure that, or you can review whether it is really addressing the need or not. Like, have we invested the right amount in the right infrastructure? And let me tell you one thing, most of the time, I have seen various firms offering quality services, but they are not utilizing their IT infrastructure in a proper manner. And many times people are facing issues like we have a lot of workload and we are not able to meet the operational requirements and the business requirements of our clients. So the problem lies with the IT asset management. Do we have adequate and appropriate infrastructure? Are we configuring and utilizing them in a proper manner? So there are various gaps which needs to be addressed to answer these kind of challenges. So IT asset management audit is a very exciting practice area, and it is applicable to every organization, no matter how small or how big it is. Everybody is investing in IT, and we must make sure that there is adequate ROI around our investment. Right, so that's where IT asset management audit is an exciting practice area. And as Maheshwari sir mentioned about certain and various cybersecurity assurance practices, information security management is again a very critical concern where you are safeguarding your assets. I think another faculty member talked about DPDP, where data privacy was addressed. Yes, data privacy and data security are two major areas which should be there, because data is the most valuable asset and we are not safeguarding it, and we are not monitoring how it is being utilized across various channels. I think we are under a serious threat of losing the business, or maybe having a lot of litigation around us where we were failing in meeting data privacy compliances. So for that, yes, we can refer to standards like ISO 27001 when it comes to external assurance like certification. And if we want to set up the system, we can refer to ISO 27002, the referred as best practices to set up information security management system. So I think auditors can check out the clients who are working at a significant level, and they can figure out whether they have structured ISMS in place or not. If it is not there, I think it's an exciting opportunity. And if they already have an ISMS system, so testing its effectiveness can be a great practice area. And maybe preparing them for ISO 27001 certification is again an opportunity which you can tap into. You can offer this service to prepare them for certifications related to security practices. And finally, when we talk about auditing, okay, we started with an organization who has some business model. So they have governance practices. So we are reviewing that. Then we are reviewing their system, then their operations, and finally the security. This whole assurance, like IS audit practice, gives assurance that they are working fine right now at this point of time. But what about their future prospects? Like if they want to expand, if they want to take their business to the next scale, or maybe they want to diverse their portfolio. So what are the options? There comes this emerging technology domain areas where you can pick out these technologies and figure out which technology is suitable in meeting your future goals. Like if you're trying to automate, and because let's say if you're dealing with huge amount of data which manually or even tools are not able to handle, your existing tools, so then you can talk about AI automation using artificial intelligence, where you can have more and more faster operations, more performance around your systems. That will help you in scaling. Like most banks are using AI for various kind of tasks where they have to monitor the transactions, whether they have to process certain kind of reporting. So AI is definitely a very good contender where you want to automate the repetitive operational task, where partial intelligence in terms of rule-based calculations can be automated, and then it can be used to improve the productivity. So, but the challenge is, let's say you have defined a solution, AI-based solution to address your requirement, but how effective it is, whether it will meet the requirement, whether it covers the compliance challenges. So that again is a exciting opportunity area, right? So with the adoption of these advanced technologies, there will be more and more exciting audit assignments in the future. When we talk about blockchain, I think a lot is happening in blockchain. When we say government front, you have blockchain.gov.in. When you talk at private front also, we have various like scenarios where you have DigiYatra app, you have Cred app, and many more private players are there. And almost everybody is trying to move to the cloud infrastructure because of ever expanding IT infrastructure need and computing needs. So cloud-based audits are again an exciting domain area for practicing information system audit. Data assurance already has been covered, like DPDP. IoT is expanding, like smart cities and remote operations using internet connected infrastructure. So that assurance and that audit is again an interesting practice area. Finally, all this software based automation needs audit and assurance. So finally, I would conclude with the point that our existing clients are more valuable than our potential new clients. So I think we need to explore their businesses and figure out what are the opportunities in terms of consulting and auditing. With this, I thank DAB committee and officials to give me this opportunity to address share my views on this topic. Thank you. Thank you, Ankurji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Over to you.
So, as we come towards the close of this enriching session, it is evident that chartered accountancy profession stands at a transformational junction. Today's discussion have reinforced one key message: the future belongs to professionals who are willing to adapt, upscale, and embrace the technology-driven opportunities. So I sincerely thank all of us esteemed speakers for sharing their valuable insights and practical perspectives. Your contribution have truly made the session impactful and forward-looking. I also extend my gratitude to all the participants, yeah, for your engagement and commitment to continuous learning. With this, I now invite Chairman Sir to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Ankur, and I think you rightly mentioned. Friends, let me just share with you one interesting statistics that, people from SAFA countries, whether it is Dhaka, whether it is Nepal, whether it is Dubai, matlab, even not only SAFA, but also Dubai, other parts of the world, internationally, Geneva, and many other countries from where the members are, have actually participated in large numbers. We have close to 1,000 people who have been watching us on a continuous basis. And particularly Bangladesh, the way they have actually, the SAFA country, the president belongs to Bangladesh now, and the participation from that country as such, Dubai, as usual, GCC countries, otherwise, also some very interesting international countries which are there. The list has just gone up and down. So thank you very much for coming from different parts of the country as well as the world. We assure you one thing is going forward, this has been a 360-degree view kind of thing which we wanted to give for this seminar, just to give you an idea where DAB is moving towards. We try to give you an overview of what is happening in each and every activity. Now, what we are going to do going forward is every fortnightly, we are going to take up one topic, which may be divided into 2 sessions or 3 sessions. Like example, Saini ji, Vinay bhai is actually taken on the information system audit opportunities. That may be divided into 2 or 3 sessions. Maybe it will be a continuous 3-day session, or maybe it will be a weekly session, and keep you posted. The DXFS, what do you say, flyer, so that you understand the topics which we are going to have. अभी अंकुर आपके पास?
Yes, sir.
अंकुर आपके पास
Yes,
है
sir.
तो खोलिए please.
Sure,
Just
sir.
yeah, put it on the screen. I want to just request and appeal people to come join us. It's going to be different and unique experience altogether. You might have heard by now the kind of speakers. They are all more or less they are chartered accountants, and they are all into practice areas of things in a systematic manner. Can you switch? Just check the top and yeah. So Durgesh bhai, Vittal sir, Uday ji,
Yes, sir.
please
हम लोग
see,
हैं
these
यहीं
are
पे.
the topics which we are going to take up on fraud and forensic information system audit, cyber security, data protection, cloud computing, data analytics, digital data, and digital trust, which is going to be one very important. Can you take the next slide also, Ankur? You have one more slide, I believe, which is on the and request you all people to kindly fix up your time schedules so that you don't spend a lot of cost. And this is going to be a very promising session across. Can you take one more slide, Ankur?
Sir.
Just drop this off and take the other one. And this is where the member from industry and practice, regulators, enforcement agencies, forensic accounting professionals, finance and risk professionals, then industry leaders and CXOs, cybersecurity and IS audit professionals, all are going to be coming and being part of this. So my request to you all people is kindly just block your time, block your date, and we look forward for your participation. And thank you all the faculties for giving your time. We all thought we'll start with something. I think this 360-degree view is just a beginning and long way to go. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone, for being part of this enriching session. So stay curious, stay future ready, and keep growing. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
ठीक है ओम जी इसको we can disconnect.
Recording stopped.